My name is Mert and I will be moderating facilitating tonight's discussion. First of all, a few housekeeping rules. The toilets, as you know, are downstairs. As you come out of these doors, go down the stairs. It's on your left in the main reception area. We aren't expecting any fire drills, so if you hear any fire alarms, we need to leave the building calmly to follow the signs for fire exit. Can I please ask you to turn off your mobile phones if you haven't done already, or at least put them on silent. If you need to take any calls or need to sort of leave the room, please do so quietly so that we can continue the discussion in here. First of all, we've got our speakers, and after the speakers, you will have a chance to ask questions to our speakers, and also within those questions, make any points that you want to make. But I'd like you to be very brief, please, and wait until the end of the speeches to make those points. And in the questions, if you can be as brief as possible and come straight to the point, that would be really useful. As you know, Centre for Turkish Studies has been in operation, if you like, for the last year or so. But they've done so many events, I don't even know how many events they've done so far. They brought so many people from Turkey, prominent writers, journalists, politicians, and also they brought them together with the politicians, journalists, and think tanks here in the UK. Their contribution to the Kurdish-speaking and Turkish communities in London and in the UK is really, really significant. At this event, we have Nuray and Mert with us, who is our main speaker. And this meeting is hosted by Right Honourable MP Seema Malhotra. And I'll ask Seema Malhotra to say a few words to welcome you all to the Parliament. Is Seema here? Okay, she won't be saying a few words then. When she arrives, I'll introduce her again. Nuray Mert is a very well-known journalist and political scientist from Turkey, as you all know. She's a lecturer in the Department of Economics at the University of Istanbul and writes regular columns for national newspapers on current and political affairs. She is well known for not sidestepping any issues and saying what needs to be said, however controversial it may be. Indeed, she was publicly targeted by the current Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan as a result of one of these controversial activities. A political TV show she was hosting at a national TV channel called NTV was taken off immediately after this, and her column at the daily newspaper Milliyet was stopped earlier this year. We've got Seema here now. I'll first ask Seema to say a few words, and then I'll ask Nuray to continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I really, firstly just apologise, you can never predict life in Parliament, and we're in between two votes, so the bell might ring again and I'll have to dash on in a few minutes, but I just wanted to really welcome you all here, and to just say how delighted I am that you are holding this event for the, the vote's imminent, you get messages, and for the Centre for Turkish Studies to be really playing such an active part, both promoting the debate about Turkey, but also really making sure that politicians are being kept informed and that these debates are really also happening in Turkey. So I'm delighted that you are here to be discussing the concept of power and authority, and the Centre for Turkish Studies is holding this debate tonight. You're the first Turkey-focused policy forum bringing together the Turkish, Kurdish, Turkish Cypriot communities together in London. Particularly welcome, Ibrahim, the establishment of the CTSD Community Awards as an excellent vehicle to illustrate exactly what is special about the Turkish, Kurdish and Turkish Cypriot communities here in Britain. I'm actually very, very proud that Labour government was a strong supporter of Turkish accession to membership of the EU, and we remain so today, a dedicated friend and trusted partner. Turkey's position at the crossroads between East and West, between Islam and Christianity, has more than symbolic value. Turkey has a better set of relations in the Middle East than other existing EU members, and this will bring a new and I think important dimension as well to EU's foreign policy and help, I hope, improve security in the region. We will continue to support expansion to include countries such as Turkey. but recognise that it's vital that there are the appropriate standards, significantly human rights standards that are met. And I know that for you and for others as well, the treatment of the Kurdish community in Turkey continues to be a matter of great concern. I will have to go now to a vote, but I will be back to try and listen to as much of the debate as possible. I know there's a new issue of the magazine that's come out that has a message of support also from Ed Miliband, our party leader. And I think that just goes to show how from the very top of the Labour Party to how the Labour Party works in the community, to how the Labour Party works to foster the rights of minorities in the UK, but also the pursuit of minority rights in every country around the world, and for an active democracy that includes everybody's voice and everybody's equal treatment. I think that it's extremely important that we continue these debates together, and that you know, as a Turkish community, that you have a friend in the Labour Party. Thank you very much.
Okay, before we move on to our next speaker, Nuray Mert, I would like to make two announcements. One is that there is a reception network event next week in the Parliament, 12th of September, for the launch of Centre for Turkish Studies website, ceftus.org. If you want to attend, and please do attend, you can actually register for the event at ceftus.org and also tell that you want to come and get some more details of it as well. And secondly, you have seen the booklet of the centre. There are some spare copies over there. Please do take one of these with you. It's got a lot of information about past activities. And if you haven't done so already, please leave your email addresses with us so that we can actually keep you up to date and inform you of forthcoming events. Thank you. Now, without further ado, Nuray Mert.
First, I want to thank Center for Turkish Studies for inviting me for this speech, especially this week when London is so shiny. It's a very rare occasion, and I enjoyed it very much. And secondly, I must thank you for coming. I think that that expresses your concern for Turkish politics. This is what I assume today. And naturally, I'll start with criticism of Turkish democracy, which is expected. But don't think that, and I think that many of you may think that I'm a biased person, being an enemy of governing party, as they call it. And as Murat also presented me, the Prime Minister attacked me directly and declared me as an enemy of government, and then governmental circles currently defining me as a sort of public enemy even, especially because of my concern and criticisms of Kurdish question. So I don't know where to start actually, because I mean, those who come from Turkey or who are related to Turkey must be very familiar with what I'm going to talk about. That Turkey is getting itself into trouble in many ways. There are human rights violations, arrests, limitations of freedoms, and Kurdish question is getting worse and worse. The situation concerning Kurdish question is getting worse and worse. And on top of everything, now there is this crisis concerning Turkish foreign policy about Syrian affair, or Syrian crisis if you like. And these all related to each other in very risky ways, if you like. So I think I should start first to talk about my criticism of how and when it started and why I ended up being labeled as an enemy of Justice and Development Party. Actually, I was among the hopefuls when Justice and Development Party came to power in 2002 general elections. Not because that I was an Islamist or supporter of right-wing politics. Far from it. I've always been leftist from very young age. But I thought that conservatives were living under very unfair suppression in Turkey. And I thought that, like many other democrats, civil and military hegemony, secularist hegemony, pressurized religious rights and life of conservative people, ordinary conservative people, let alone Islamists. It's a long story of this modernization project of the Republican regime and all that. And I thought that it is fair, finally, that Justice and Development Party managed to overcome all difficulties and obstacles and managed to come to power by democratic elections. And then, since then, of course I have been critical of Justice and Development Party, but only because it was an ordinary right-wing party, and I was leftist, and I was critical of their neoliberal economic policies. But my criticism was limited to their being right-wing party, conservative party, especially concerning their economic liberalism and all that. And then, first term, in their first term, actually they were still struggling against military and judicial hegemony, and also cultural, secularist cultural hegemony, because cultural hegemony is also a very important force to repress segments of society. In this case, it was very repressing for Turkish conservatives and Islamists.